Well, modern problems require modern solutions, and we have reached peak medicine, friends. That's right. The U.S. Drug and Safety Agency will now allow doctors to prescribe medicine in the form of video games. That's right. Finally, I can stay home from work with a doctor's note to play World of Warcraft for hopefully 14 to 21 days. I'm hoping that this will be a booming industry for doctors willing to understand the therapeutic uses of particular video games and understand that there are people out there like me and you. Probably smash like if you too feel like you need to be prescribed 7 to 10 days of intense video gaming. Imagine your wife, your girlfriend comes in, or your boyfriend, and you're like, sorry, I want to do the dishes, but doctor's orders. Ooh, I have a prescription. Sorry, boss. I really got to beat the Ghost of Tsushima. Doctor's orders. Speaking of prescriptions, check out today's sponsor. Huge shout out to this video's sponsor. That's right. Video game approved as prescription medicine. This as of July 31st, 2020. Get to your doctors right now and get your prescription-only video games. The U.S. Drug Safety Agency says EndeavorRx has proven therapeutic effect. Prescription gameplay. EndeavorRx was scientifically designed to challenge a child's brain during ADHD treatment. It demands that the child focus on multiple tasks at the same time. Well, I mean, who among us hasn't been training for this moment their whole life? Who among us haven't spent time playing an MMO where you're dealing with mobs, you're worrying about your recharge rate, you're worrying about your equipment, you're worrying about the damage you're taking? This is an amazing development. Certainly any MMO would then qualify for this. This summer, a video game became available by prescription in the United States. The first ever FDA-approved digital treatment builds on a tradition of gaming as a therapeutic tool that extends back more than a decade. Its gameplay gets good reviews too. As video games have expanded the reach beyond the dedicated platforms like Nintendo, consoles, Xboxes, and PlayStations, where they've long thrived, to smartphones and tablets, therapeutic games have also made a leap. Some have ratcheted up their intentionally addictive gameplay design, though, according to developers, not in the service of ad clicks and in-game purchases, but rather of self-improvement and therapeutic benchmarks. This is the future. On June 15th, the USDA announced its approval of the first-person racing game called EndeavorRx. Boston-based Akili Interactive Labs, maker of the game, says this racer was originally licensed from a lab of Adam Gazzaley, a neuroscientist at the University of California, San Francisco. The company touts 4 peer-reviewed studies in PLOS, Lance Digital, Journal of Autism, and Developmental Disorders, as well as one paper in the process of support for its claims that EndeavorRx significantly improves clinical makers of attention in patients with ADHD. Now, I could tell you, I would love to see fewer of this nation's youth so quickly prescribe things like Adderall and Ritalin and all this kind of stuff. Why not video games? EndeavorRx looks like a traditional game, but it's very different, says Matt Omernick, Akili co-founder and the company's chief creative officer. EndeavorRx uses video game experience to present scientific sensory stimuli and simultaneous motor challenge designed to target and activate the prefrontal cortex of the brain. As a child progresses in gameplay, the technology is continuously measuring their performance and using adaptive algorithms to adjust the difficulty and personalize the treatment experience for each individual. I am sure this person isn't about to get a $500 million contract from Electronic Arts or the Candy Crush Saga maker King, which is owned by Activision. For web developer and designer Craig Ferguson, anxiety and depression are both conditions that good video game design can effectively treat. Depression is a cycle of doing nothing, and then when you do nothing, you feel worse, he says. If you do anything that's meaningful for you, that breaks you out of the cycle. Ferguson, back when he was a developer and designer at MIT's Media Lab, worked with Chelsea Wilkes, a psychology postdoc at Harvard. Wilkes studies behavioral activation therapy, a form of depression treatment that provides activities for a depressive person that breaks depression's vicious feedback loops. It's a well-known fact that so many mobile games use all sorts of psychological tricks to get people to give them money, he says. So we wanted to use the exact same psychological tricks, but to trick users into doing something that's good for them. Now, I don't know what a racing mobile game is going to do, but hey, I have to admit, at least they're using their powers for good, potentially. I'm sure this company will make hundreds of millions of dollars as doctors across America are writing out scripts for kids to play video games. But if it really does have a positive effect, why not? It's certainly better than the psychotropics that they're putting all these kids on all the time that we don't really even know what kind of long-term issues that they cause. For instance, he says last year, the Journal of Medical Internet Research published a study that he co-authored with other Media Lab researchers used a Pokemon-like digital pet collection mobile game as a backdoor route to introduce patients to self-report symptoms and behaviors. Typically, clinicians who rely on patients for self-reports of their mood swings or their daily activities via paper diaries or electronic journals sometimes have trouble with compliance. Self-reporting using a specifically designed mobile game where they saw an 86% compliance outstripped self-reporting in e-journal by 78, that's not much, and paper journals by 71. That's also not that much more. Now, the real question is the self-reporting more accurate? Or are they just more likely to do it because they're being asked inside of a video game? If it's more accurate and also more people do it, that seems like a big win. The Guardian's Unite the Realms, developed by Ferguson and his colleagues, is now available for download free on both Android and iOS. Using games for physical therapy, especially therapies tied to specific diseases and conditions, sometimes requires a different approach than the increasingly tablet and phone-based psychological therapy games, says Pierre. Lanzi teaches video game design and development and has been studying therapeutic gaming since 2016. By the way, this is via IEEE, via spectrum.ieee.org. So VR gaming, he said, shows much more promise as a form of cognitive rehabilitation for, say, stroke survivors and autistic patients. Whenever the form of the screen, he said, therapy games can, at best, introduce a sense of fun to the physical therapies that could otherwise be tedious or worse. And certainly if things are tedious, people are just going to be less likely to do them. I mean, I think that's reasonable, right? And JIA exercises are very painful for the joints, Lanzi said. They're also very repetitive. So if you find something that's enjoyable, something that makes time pass by, we'll try to make it feel not like it's rehab at all. I 100% support this, and I just need to find out how to get more games on this list of approved titles, because the Washington Post is already trying to debunk this. The Washington Post is trying to take our prescription video games away. Creators call digital game prescription for ADHD the future of medicine. Critics call it a marketing ploy. Can a video game help children struggling with ADHD? Well, we already know about Endeavor RX, and we know about what they're saying, but here's what some of the critics say. I'm a little shocked and more perplexed about why the FDA would approve this and allow it to be paid for by insurance. Oh my God, this is beautiful. I can get my World of Warcraft monthly subscription paid for by my insurance. What an amazing thing. Oh my God, think of all the, think about how this is going to get out of control. People are going to have, they're going to have microtransactions in the game, and people are going to run up $50,000 in WWE wrestling skins for therapy. DSP about to get on this. Said Mark Rappaport, head of the Children's Learning Clinic at the University in Central Florida, who has published extensive research on other brain training programs making similar claims. I abhor seeing desperate parents spend money based on empty promises. On moral grounds, I think it's wrong to tell people to get their doctors to prescribe this when it does nothing of real-world importance. Well, look, I think that's a little harsh, because if you have, in the VR case, if you have painful, repetitive VR physical rehab every day, why not allow that to be covered by insurance? I mean, this guy sounds like a boomer. Big deal. What if you gamify kids brushing their teeth every day? Isn't that better than kids just going in there and spraying a little water in their mouth pretending that they brushed them? I don't see any problem with it. In an email, Akili Chief Executive Eddie Martucci said that the company sought the FDA approval to give families and doctors full confidence in our product. He called the criticisms inaccurate and a misunderstanding of the FDA process, adding, "We're excited about this FDA labeling that clearly shows EndeavorRx as a low-risk, targeted treatment for cognitive issue. In a dispute in real-world value, what is being targeted? Akili's strongest evidence of EndeavorRx potential benefits is children's performance on a 21.6-minute-long continuous performance test known as the TOVA. The test, described by Tova Co. as long and boring, requires participants to push intermittently after seeing certain geometric shape. Akili's study report support of its FDA clearance, which the company paid for, was having published last February, that the Lancet Digital Health peer-reviewed journal found that 36% of children who had played its game for 25 minutes a day, 5 days a week for a month, no longer had a deficit of attention as measured by the TOVA. But critics questioned whether the change was likely to affect their schoolwork or behavior. Well, okay, I guess. Quote, "The effects just don't generalize," Barkley said. "You get better at playing the game and something similar to playing the game." That's reasonable. That's reasonable. Martucci countered that EndeavorRx is specifically designed to help children with ADHD who struggle with specific attention issues. Even though inattention is often less recognized than overt symptoms like hyperactivity, we've heard from numerous families and physicians that they are seeking new options to specifically help children living with day-to-day challenges caused by attention issues. I mean, look, if you don't think that ADHD is a problem, go to any college the week of finals. You'll find those little pills flying around so everyone can focus and get things done. Now, if you want to look at the root of why we have this attention problem, I'll have that conversation. I think that mobile phones and social media and instant gratification is a big part of why people don't pay attention to anything these days. But why not give these guys a chance? In the case of EndeavorRx, revives a broad and long-simmering controversy over the benefits and risks of computerized brain testing, part of a global industry projected to be worth more than $8 billion by 2021. Well, now you know why they're interested. Nonetheless, I look forward to going to my doctor later today and getting my prescription for World of Warcraft. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you check out this video's sponsor, Glasses USA. Their links are in the description. We'll see you on the next one.